Hello, this is McD the Beast, and this is McD Sports 4 coming to you today. Just talking about these games on Saturday night. Pretty boring night. Worth of games. I'm not gonna lie. Hopefully the 10 p.m., 10:30 games are better, but very boring games. What up, Stress Clan? How you doing? I basically want you guys to tell me what you thought about this Saturday while I went through the games. Um, so let's get to that, and let's start off with the game. We'll start off with the games that are still going on right now, actually. Oklahoma State looks like they're going to beat Kansas State. It's still 7.5 minutes left in that one, 23-13. Oklahoma State over Kansas State. Hopefully I get the upset pick correct. Not upset pick. Hopefully I just get the pick in general correct because my picks haven't been the best today. NC State versus Florida State. Florida State looks like they're going to be winning this one. Pretty big win for Willie Taggart if you think about it. People thought that Florida State might still make a bowl game because of them being in the ACC. Looks like that might be the case. NC State, I mean, this is kind of a disappointing loss for them. Utah State, they're going to be going ahead and looks where they're up by 10 against Colorado State. This game's been a little bit closer than I thought it was going to be, but hopefully Utah State pulls it out. Wyoming absolutely dominating UNLV, so that's going to be a win for Wyoming, 53-17. Fresno State, they have the ball. They're driving down the field, 30-17 on New Mexico State. One of the games I have on right now, even though it looks like it just went to the weather delay, possibly. Um, there's lightning in the Salt Lake area, and they had to take their cameramans down, so the camera angles kind weird in the game. Utah, they're up in Washington State, 14-10. It might have went to a weather delay. I don't know. UCLA, they're up 7-0 on Arizona. Hawaii's up 7-0 on Nevada. And here are the games that ended. South Carolina, they ended the streak against Kentucky 24-7. I watched most of the second half of this one. Give credit to South Carolina. This is a big win. It's a big win for Muschamp because they finally beat Kentucky. So that's good. I forget who South Carolina gets coming up. I think they get, I want to say, did they get Tennessee maybe? Who do they get? I think they have a bye week. And maybe they get Georgia. But good win for South Carolina. There's talks about Will Muschamp on the hot seat. I think he reserved him some time, at least for a little bit, because they finally beat Kentucky. Houston, they finally get a win against North Texas, excuse me, their second win of the season, 46-25. Houston over North Texas with the backup quarterback because Derek King quit on his team. So yeah, let's see. Ohio State, they beat Nebraska 48-7. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be doing a video on this in the off season. They got to change how they pick the primetime games in College Game Day. They have to, because today was the worst case scenario for the primetime games. Just saying. I know there's 2 buys this year, and that's not an every year thing. And then there's and also the slate of games are kind of weak. But for example, the SEC game of the week on CBS, that should have never been Ole Miss and Alabama. It should have been Mississippi State and Auburn. Granted, that game was a blowout. I'll get into that game here in a second. But they really put some bad games on in these primetime spots. Like, who did not see Ohio State going into Lincoln and blowing out Nebraska like this? I had 45-20. I thought Nebraska would score more points in garbage time. Turns out I was wrong, but they did score a touchdown. We'll see what happens with Nebraska. But this game should have never been a game day game right here, or an ABC night game. And speaking about bad games, the Texas Tech and Oklahoma game should have never been a big noon kickoff. That's the new thing Fox is doing. That should have never been a big noon kickoff game, the Texas Tech and Oklahoma game. But let's talk about Mississippi State and Auburn. Auburn, my God, I have them up at 5 in my poll. I might be moving them up. I have to see how everything looks tomorrow when I make the poll, and then I release the video on Monday. But Auburn, I did not see this coming. Mississippi State, they absolutely came out, and they worst case scenario happened. Another thing about Mississippi State, they are playing musical quarterbacks, and that is never a formula for victory, in my opinion. Playing musical quarterbacks. So Mississippi State. The good news is that I still think Mississippi State makes a bowl game per se, but I'm just telling you, Mississippi State ain't going nowhere. They're going to play musical quarterbacks. They'll be 7-5 at best. Auburn, big game against Florida next week. I am leaning towards Auburn in that one. I'll admit that right now. It's going to be. I'm sure it's the 3:30 game. If it's not, that's insane. Unless I'm missing a game that's next week as well. But Auburn, in my opinion, I just feel like they're better. To me, they are the third best team in the SEC West behind Bama and LSU, and they are the fourth best team in the SEC as of right now because Georgia, I think, is better than them. But Auburn, what can I say? They blew out Mississippi State. The game, I think, was 49-9 at one point. Let's see what else happened. Let's see, Notre Dame, they beat Virginia 35-20. Good win for Notre Dame. I thought maybe they were in for a bit of a disappointment. I thought the game was going to be really close. Give Notre Dame credit. They're obviously a lot better than I thought they were going to be this year. So we'll see what happens. But Notre Dame, I think, is going 11-1 this year. Virginia, I don't think they should get dropped out of the top 25 per se because let's be honest, their offensive line lost them that game. But I do think that Virginia is a team, if you look at them, they should have won through everybody except maybe Miami. But the way Miami's looking, they probably should have won through them as well. And maybe Duke in North Carolina. Let's see what else. UCF, they beat UConn 56. Excuse me. UCF, they beat UConn 56-21. Good win for UCF. That's kind of what you expected here. They're going to get a test against Cincinnati. They get Tulane later here in the season on the road. That's going to be a test for them. So we'll see what happens there. Michigan State wins in a shootout 40-31 over Indiana. This is kind of surprising. Michigan State, let's be real. The offense a few weeks ago looked like they were going to average maybe 15 points a game, and not even maybe that even. They scored 31 against Northwestern, who gave up 24 to Wisconsin, and they put 40 up against Indiana. So Indiana's defense might be bad, or Michigan State might have found what they wanted on offense. Indiana, they did put up 31 points against a pretty good Michigan State defense. That's good for them, but I don't see Indiana being better than anybody except maybe Rutgers and Illinois in the Big Ten. And yes, I know the Terps lost 59-0 last night, but I do think my Terps are still better than Indiana. Let's see what else happened. Why I was commenting on things. FAU, they beat Charlotte 55-20. Not 55, 45-27. Good win for FAU on the road. Charlotte, they're a team that they were 2-2 going into this game. Both of these teams. FAU clearly the better team. They got the victory there. Baylor made me some money. Good job, Baylor, making me some money. They won 23-21 on a last-second field goal. Blew a 20-0 lead, but they came through for me. Made $40 off the game. I'm really happy that Baylor went ahead and got the win there for me. Appalachian State, they beat Coastal Carolina 56-37. They were down 21-7 early, but Appalachian State came through. Let's see. SMU, they beat South Florida 48-21. SMU might come out of the American West. Keep an eye on them. I know they have Memphis well, I'm not going to really say Houston, but I know they have Memphis in that division, and Tulane is looking pretty decent this year. But give SMU credit. They're 5-0. Keep an eye on them. They were up to 25 in my poll last week, and up to 25 in the coaches poll. They're probably going to be moving up because USC lost, and the War is in my pool, 21 through 25. If you lose, you're out. And Kansas State lost 2 at 20. I think they're going to be out of the poll as well. Cincinnati beats Marshall 52 to 14. Good win for Cincinnati on the road. We had a guy last night in the chat that said he was going to this game. A and J. I forget what was after that, but I know it was A and J something. That must have sucked because he was a Marshall fan. He was saying he was going to that game, but yeah, that must stink if you're going to a game and you see your team get blown out like that. So that sucks for him. But good win for Cincinnati on the road. Marshall, they'll be fine in the Conference USA play. Liberty, they beat New Mexico 17 to 10. Our boy Eli must be happy about that. Liberty, they're probably going to beat Rutgers in my opinion. I think they have like one more FCS opponent, and they have New Mexico State. I know at least one more time. That gets them to 6 wins. If they can find a way to win another game or two, they might get into a bowl game. Because let's be real, for some reason, people look at Liberty as a FCS team, as Barry and well, let me reword that. People look at Liberty as a FCS team, in my opinion. I think they have to go 7-5 to make a bowl game, which isn't fair, but it's just how it is. East Carolina, they beat Old Dominion 24-21. Good win for East Carolina. The Bear picked Old Dominion, and the upset didn't work out for him. East Carolina, they have that JMU head coach. They're going to be good here in the next few years, I'm telling you. Old Dominion, they couldn't pull off an upset against anybody, against East Carolina, but they can against Virginia Tech, though. Arkansas State versus Troy shootout. Arkansas State, they come up out on top against Troy 50 to 43. I didn't watch any of this one, but good win for Arkansas State. Louisiana, they come up on top against Georgia Southern 37 to 24. I picked Georgia Southern in the upset. I was wrong. Good win for Louisiana. They're looking like pop. Louisiana looks like they might be the best team in the Sun Belt. I mean, they've given all their tougher opponents fits. UMR Road, they beat South Alabama 30 to 17. Texas State, they get a victory over Nicholas 24 to 3. Southern Miss beats UTEP 31-13. Western Kentucky, they beat UAB 20 to 13. What happened to UAB? They're not beating anybody convincingly, and Western Kentucky, they're better than what I thought they're going to be this year. And they went ahead and beat UAB, so keep your eye out on UAB. 2 more games here. Louisiana Tech, they survived Rice 23 to 20. That's a bit surprising. Louisiana Tech to me is one of your better teams in the Conference USA. Rice, I'll give Rice credit. I predict them to go 0-12. They're playing their opponents tough. I'll give them credit. I watched, I think, parts of 2 Rice games this year, and they play their opponents tough. And then Stanford, they survived Oregon State. That game was a delay for part of that game. They beat Oregon State 31 to 28. Much needed win for Stanford right there. So that's kind of what's happening right now. It looks like Oklahoma State kicked another field goal. Florida State and NC State, that's final 31-13. Final score in Florida State's favor. Fresno State game is final. Fresno State won that one 30 to 17. And let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Okay. What's up, Michael Chunky and Tiger Raven? Michael Chunky. Ohio State is the best team in the country. Prove me wrong. Tiger Raven. Today felt boring for me, even though my Tigers won. UNC played a hard-fought game. They are improving. Let's talk about the. I don't know if you're still in the chat, Michael Chunky, but Ohio State is a top 4 team. I'm not willing to go as far to say they are the best team in the country, only because I had to see them actually play somebody legit. Nebraska was not a legit opponent tonight at all. They were not a legit opponent. But I need to see, like, I think they play Michigan State next week. Ohio State. I think and they play Wisconsin coming up here in late October. We'll know then how good Ohio State really is. But Michigan State will be a good test for Ohio State next week. UNC is improving. I agree with you, Tiger Raven 18. They'll make it a bowl game. I mean, I'm looking at the ACC Coastal. They beat Miami. They're beating Virginia Tech. The Duke game is a rivalry game. Anything can happen in there, but we'll give them the win there. So that's 3. The 2 and 3 that gets them to 5 victories. Who else do they play out the ACC Coastal? Do they play they play Georgia Tech? That's a win. That gets them to 6. UNC will have, and I'll pull the schedule up actually right now. UNC, let's see what we got here. They got Georgia Tech next week on the road. They'll beat them. So they'll be 3 and 3 going into their first bye. They get to go to Blacksburg, Virginia at Virginia Tech. They'll beat Virginia Tech in Virginia Tech. Then they get Duke at home for the homecoming game. I'm going to say they win that one as well. So that gets them to 5. They'll probably lose to Virginia in a close one. At Pitt, they get Mercer. That's 6. And at NC State, from what I've seen for NC State today, that might be a win. So that might be 7. But some of these people that were saying that North Carolina was going to make a bowl game at 7 and 5, looks like they might be correct. So we'll see what happens. North Carolina is a fun team to watch, so we'll see what happens there. But that's I kind of just want to come in and talk about talk about these night games. I'm going to be doing a big video this off season, probably in May, honestly, only because I already have plans for the May videos. Believe it or not, I think that I'm going to be cutting a video on how the primetime games should be picked because today was ridiculous. But that's all I have. Thanks for watching the stream. And I might not come back for these late night games because I have to get up tomorrow morning kind of early. But thanks for watching. McD the Beast here signing off.